This is the Berman Method Podcast featuring Dr. Jake Berman and physician assistant Jenni Berman. We are here to treat problems and not symptoms. Disclaimer, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and not to treat anyone or to give medical advice. If you are interested in any information that we are giving and would like to use this for yourself, we recommend that you contact your primary care physician or reach out to us and ask us questions about yourself specifically. Enjoy.
And we're rolling, baby. The Berman Method Podcast. Dr. Jake Berman with my lovely co-host, Jenni Berman, physician assistant certified.
Hello. That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
It was lovely, wasn't it?
Lovely. Beautiful. Shout out Yelinsky. It's beautiful.
And we're rolling, baby. Little change of scenery. We're in our new office.
Our new
room in our office.
Our new office room in our downtown office.
We never had our own private office. We always been bunched up with everybody else. And now as the team continues to grow, we finally got to the point to where neither one of us were able to be productive in our CEO type responsibilities, steering the ship type responsibilities. So we cleared out the back room downstairs, which was filled with stuff.
Weights, balls, stuff.
Yeah, a lot of equipment. So cleared that out, got us some standing desks and some chairs, and this is now our CEO room.
Yes, it's been nice for the last couple of days that I've been able to use it by myself, but now I have you in here too, so we'll see how that goes.
Headphones.
That's right. I was actually just thinking I need to go upstairs and get my headphones from the office.
Yeah, so we'll see. This is our first time recording in here. It almost sounds a little echoey because we don't really have anything on the walls at the moment, so hopefully the audio comes out okay and our editor can make this thing work. And we'll get rolling with it today. We're in November.
Halloween was fun. Can't wait to share some pictures of the Halloween costumes.
Holy candy.
Yes. We're giving it away.
Sugar, poison. You know what's funny? If we think about it, I didn't really think about this until you just said it. Bags and bags full of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And whether anybody wants to admit it or not, sugar is the number one poison in our country right now.
Correct.
Right? It is the most legal poison drug in our country.
Yes.
And we just dish it out to all of the kids in our country for Halloween. Here, have some more poisonous drug, some more addictive drug, and rot your teeth and spike your blood sugar levels and set you up for diabetes and failure down the road.
Well, really, candy and sweets is the reward as a kid for anything and everything. I mean, even at Stella's school, every week we have to do these letter bags where we have one letter of the week that she's learning at school, and we have to find things around the house to put in this letter bag. She turns it in on Fridays and presents it to our class, and every time they send home a reward for her completing this homework assignment, and it's always candy. And 95% of the time it's candy she can't eat because of her sensitivities and allergies, so it goes in the garbage. But if you think about it, even growing up, that was our reward for most things, was to go get a ice cream or go get a donut or, candy.
Isn't it wild?
Mm-hmm.
Wild to think about. I mean, because we think about, we would never, ever, ever in a million years consider handing out Oxycontin for Halloween.
Right.
Right? Oh, Jake, that's extreme, don't you think? Well, is it really?
Right.
I'd never, ever in a million years would even think about having a giant bowl of cocaine at the door for the trick-or-treaters to come by and put a handful and scoop it out, right?
Right.
Oh, Jake, that's extreme. That's not even close to the same. But is it?
But it's a drug, and sugar is a drug. And yeah, like you've already said, sugar is the number one cause for majority of our diagnoses that we have in America. High blood pressure, diabetes, insulin resistance, high cholesterol. This is all sugar and carbohydrate and fat induced, candy induced.
Think about it. I mean, this was not the plan, by the way, to talk about this. I love how these episodes come about where it's like, well, let's talk about this on the episode. And in the first 3 minutes, it's like, nope, that's out the window. We're not even thinking about that. Maybe we'll get around to what we wanted to talk about today. But think about it this way. I love talking about this one because it's not as controversial today because of all of the legalization that's occurring. Let's look at marijuana, right? Mm-hmm. Marijuana is this natural growing plant that grows naturally in the wild. Yet back in the 40s, I think it was the FDA or whoever it was decided to outlaw it because they didn't have enough information on it. So it's been outlawed for the past 100 years, essentially. While at the same time, opioids and Oxycontin and every type of opioid, prescription opioid has been running rampant and has been a major cause of deaths in America over the past 20 to 30 years. And this is no secret, right? 60 Minutes is covering it. Everybody's covering it now. Yet this thing called sugar just flies under the radar. Just flies under the radar because it's socially acceptable.
Right. Even though it, again, is a leading cause of death, since we know heart disease, diabetes are both leading causes of death.
It's insane. It's just so wild for me to think about it. And, on one hand, I'm thinking of it like this. It wasn't that long ago that doctors were smoking cigarettes in patients' rooms.
Right.
And that was just a normal thing to do. Right? It was just normal. I remember as a kid flying to Jamaica. I'll never forget this. I remember there being ashtrays in the armrests of airplanes.
Of the airplane. Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do. Yeah. I mean, as kids.
Well, granted, they weren't smoking. Luckily, they had outlawed smoking by this time because this is 1990, I'm sure, is my first recollection of this. But it's just crazy to think that was a normal thing. And now when we look back on it, how crazy is it for us to say the doctors were walking around smoking cigarettes?
Yeah, I remember people smoking anywhere and everywhere as a kid, like in restaurants. All restaurants had a smoking and non-smoking section, right? Where you could smoke in the restaurant. And now just today, I saw on the news that there's a meeting down in Marco Island about banning smoking at parks and beaches. So that's how far we're coming, that they're banning at parks and beaches where people used to smoke in every restaurant growing up. But yet sugar is still.
Well, that's where I'm going with this thing. 50 years ago, it was completely normal for doctors to smoke cigarettes in patients' rooms, giving out care. 50 years ago, it was perfectly normal. I'm pretty sure this was going on in the 70s, if not 70s, 60s. All right, 60 years ago, whatever it was. 50 years ago is completely normal. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but do you think that 50 years from now, sugar is going to be exposed and it's going to be like, holy shit, I cannot believe that we were shoveling this into our kids' mouths every Halloween, shoveling it into everybody's mouth for Thanksgiving and Christmas cookies and everything?
I don't know. I don't know that that's going to change. Well, I truly don't know. And the reason I'm saying that is because look at where our food industry has gone 50 years ago. Yes, 50 years ago, doctors were smoking in our patient rooms, but look at the difference of the food then. It was much cleaner 50 years ago than it is now. So our food's going in the wrong direction, whereas all the other healthcare is hopefully going in the right direction.
The food is going in the wrong direction, and it's completely explainable, and I completely understand why. And the number one reason why is sustainability, meaning that natural, healthy food would never, ever be able to support our population right now. So all of the health nuts out there and everybody's saying that everybody should eat all organic and eat healthy, you're completely off your rocker right now because you haven't run the numbers. There is no way that it would be able to sustain the population in America. And that is what it is. And that's the number one reason why GMOs came out and all of these genetically modified grains came out, because the farmers could not keep up with the demands of the population. So you had to find some way to make corn reproduce faster, grow bigger. I'm sure you have seen these memes over the past few years, what an apple looks like today compared to the size of an apple 50 years ago. It's tripled the size. So this is all in an attempt to help feed the population that continues to grow. So if we were to, here's an extreme example, if we were to magically snap our fingers right now and get rid of every single McDonald's in America, there would be massive, massive starvation, because I think the statistic is McDonald's feeds 1% of the population on a daily basis.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that's what the statistic is.
Wow.
Think about that, right? It's 7 billion people on the planet, 1% on a daily basis eats McDonald's. So I understand what we're saying with food as far as regression of our food compared to progression of our medicine. But at the same time, I think that sugar is one of those things where it's got to be like smoking. 50 years from now, we've got to look back on this time in history and say, oh my gosh, what were we thinking?
I hope you're right. I hope people start seeing it. I just don't know. I mean, like you and I were talking about this morning that I had listened to a podcast that was talking about, there was a study that came out actually in October of 2023. So just this past month, talking about the percentage of our adult population that eats ultra processed foods. And it was like, the study was saying that 67% of an adult population is ultra processed food. And then we started talking about how it's just because of the affordability of being able to eat cleaner and organically. So again, I know you're talking about candy and sugar specifically, and I really hope that you're right. We will look back and say sugar is a drug, and that we're all eating much cleaner and without the sugar addictions 50 years from now. But just, it's difficult to think that way when we're still getting garbage as nutrients through our quote unquote regular diet.
Yeah, let's run with that a little bit, because there's always going to be extremes, meaning that the things that you and I, Jake and Jenny, thinks are acceptable to put into our bodies as far as nutrition goes might be completely asinine for some of our clients, for example. You know, we've got people that we're working with right now that are so far organic that it makes me cringe to think about what their food bill looks like a month. How much money are they spending on food a month? Because if you're eating 100% organic, 100% pasture raised, nothing, that is not cheap. And then at the same time, you look at the vast majority of America who they can't even afford to even think about eating organic. So they have to shop in the middle aisles where the BOGOs are and all of these deals are. In the middle aisles, that's where all the boxes are. So to make that make sense, 95% of our grocery shopping is done on the perimeter of the store.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because everything on the interior of the store is in a box.
Right.
If it's in a box, it's processed.
Right.
You cannot argue with that. if you've got food sitting on a shelf that doesn't have to be refrigerated, there's a reason why it's capable of doing that, because it was processed.
Right.
It is quite the dilemma, but at the same time, you don't have to pay these asinine bills to buy food that's 100% organic and pasture raised and whatever else, this, that, and the other, because that's really expensive. You don't have to do that, but you could do something that's a little bit better than what you are doing.
Right. Right.
Is that fair to say?
Yes. And when you're shopping on the perimeter, it doesn't mean that everything on the perimeter is organic. They have the options of non-organic versus organic. And absolutely, we would recommend eating organic for less toxicity and to have, less contamination to your body. But as you've mentioned, that's not always feasible for all families to be able to eat 100% organic because of the cost of organic foods. However, you can still eat whole foods shopping the perimeter of the store that may not be organic. That's a little bit more cost effective for a large family. And still, as you mentioned, will be less processed and healthier than eating on the insides of the aisles. I think we have 3 inside aisles that I will go down regularly when I shop at the grocery store. Everything else is on the perimeter, but that's out of 3 out of 20 aisles that will go down to get a few things.
And one of the aisles just happens to be peanut butter.
Yeah, but there's organic peanut butter, which is just ground peanuts.
Let's use chicken, for example. Chicken is a very popular hot topic with all the inflation that's going on lately, where let's use 3 tiers of chicken. The top tier is 100% natural, no hormone added chicken breasts.
Right.
The next tier down, let's say, is Tyson.
Okay.
So Tyson is your normal, everyday pack of chicken at Publix. Mm-hmm. And then the lowest tier down, we'll say, is chicken in a can.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right? So there's 3 tiers of chicken.
Got it.
The chicken in the can is by far the least expensive.
Right.
And by far the worst for you.
Right.
Because it's filled with...
Well, just preservatives,
sodium, everything that you can possibly think of, so that this can of chicken can be there after the apocalypse and you can still open it up and eat it.
Right.
Right. And then Tyson chicken it looks really good, but the biggest thing that I see different between Tyson chicken and 100% organic chicken is the size.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Because you will occasionally buy some regular chicken, and when it comes into the house, I'm looking at these chicken breasts going, wow, what doctor did you have?
Right. Yeah. And I'll keep going, and then I'll talk about our meat choices.
So when you look at this, you're going, wow, this is a much better value, because you can get 10 pounds of chicken for half the price of 10 pounds of organic chicken.
Right.
Right. Because then you go one little slip over to the Greenwise section in Publix, and you're looking at a pound of chicken breast costing $15 compared to a pound of Tyson costing $7.
Right.
Right? It's half the price. So it's a no-brainer. I'm going with the Tyson. But what you don't know is what goes into that chicken to make it that big, so that it is sustainable for the population, the American population. You've got to shoot these chickens up with all sorts of steroids so that they grow bigger faster, so that they can keep up with the population demands. It's that simple.
Right. And, this is twofold, because not only is it filled with toxins and hormones, but then we have an issue with portion control in America. And so you'll get one of these chicken breasts and you'll be like, oh, it's a 1 chicken breast, so I'm going to eat the whole serving. Well, really, that's 2 servings of a chicken breast. And, if we do buy regular chicken for one reason or another at the grocery store, we always cut the chickens in half lengthwise to make 2 full-size chicken patties or chicken breasts, but we cut it in half lengthwise and make 2 servings out of 1 chicken. So that's the other issue with these sizes of chickens being so good or large is a lot of times we're not portioning it properly. But with that being said, I'll mention something about chicken since we're on this topic is we now don't really buy any proteins in the grocery store.
Yeah, it's rare.
Yeah,
Sometimes we'll get a pork loin.
Pork loin. Yeah, that might be the only thing that we buy in the grocery stores now, most commonly. The reason being is we never eat red meat, like beef. I can't remember the last time I bought beef to have at the house. We don't eat beef because we harvest our own venison. So our red meat source at home is venison. But now we buy all of our chicken and turkey from a company called Cook's Venture, which we actually order our meat from. It's a farm that we order the meat from, and it arrives at our door frozen. And then that's what we utilize for all of our white meat sources at home now. And it is organically raised, unpasteurized, right? Is that the right word? No hormones, very clean. So that's, something I always recommend clients to look into is this Cook's Venture. 1, how convenient is it that it shows right up to your door? 2, the portions are very controlled, right? 1 chicken breast is a appropriate portion, so you don't have to try to cut it and figure out the portion size, but it's so clean, hormone free.
It's very clean, and this isn't a shout out to them because we're not sponsored by them. Maybe we should be.
Yeah,
sponsored.
maybe we should be, but no, we're not.
If Cook's Venture is listening, hey, holler at us. We're sending this out to everybody. The thing that you need to understand, though, is Cook's Venture is trying to feed a very small portion of the population of America. Because of that, they are able to raise their chickens the right way. Mm-hmm. Versus Tyson is this massive, massive, massive corporate giant who I'm sure has chickens all over the world that is trying to feed our population as fast as possible. So you've got to inject those chickens with hormones to get them bigger, faster, as fast as possible because you can't keep up with the demand. I don't care what you had to do to get it on my plate. Just get it on my plate.
Right.
Versus some local place that's not corporate, that's not publicly traded stock options, something like that. I mean, Cook's Venture is just one of them. There's a ton of them out there.
Yeah.
So don't be calling up Cook's Venture because I don't want you raising our rates because they can't keep up. But there's a ton of these private places that are raising healthy, organic poultries or anything really, right, that you really should consider. Yes, it costs more money, but at the same time, what are you exchanging that money for? Something that's actually healthy or something just to say that you ate something?
Right. And that's, one of the other reasons we know that this is the case is Cook's Venture doesn't always have everything available. They don't always have chicken breasts on the menu. They don't always have pork loins on the menu. They don't always have ground turkey on the menu. It's just what they have available at that point in time. So, it's, that's another way that you'll know. There's memes going around all over the place that are saying, okay, yes, it's a little bit more expensive now to eat organically. Yes, a gym membership costs money. Yes, investing in a health coach costs money or seeing a functional medicine provider costs money. But what is this worth to you? And 2, how much are you going to be spending when you have a heart attack or a stroke? How much are you going to be spending on your insulin when you have to take it because you're a diabetic? How much is that hospital bill going to cost you if you have to have surgery on something because you're not taking care of yourself now?
We see it at least on a weekly basis in here, if not on a daily basis, where there's somebody who cannot buy their health back.
Right.
I mean, at least a weekly basis where this is a retired CEO of whatever business that has endless funds available to them, but they've gotten diagnosed with something that they can't buy their way out of. There is no money on the planet, amount of money on the planet that they can exchange for their health back. Whether that's a physical condition that I deal with on the daily where somebody's back gets so bad that they can't do anything anymore, or it's something on your end where it's a systemic thing, diabetes, heart disease, heart attack, right?
Yeah.
You can't buy it back.
Right.
So what are you exchanging that money for right now?
Right. Or, the cost of a quintuple bypass, having 5 bypass on your heart is, just the cost to go through that. Even with insurance, there is a big price tag to a surgery like that. So why get to that point? Why not start investing in your health yesterday or right now to prevent that?
Here's the thing that I want to leave everybody with. Usually you're not listening to our podcast unless you actually do care about your health, right? We're over 100 episodes into this thing. You shouldn't be listening to this thing if you don't care about your health. There's a lot of people that think that they care about their health. They talk like they care about their health, but they don't actually care about their health. And here's the easiest way to know what your priorities are. Is your health a priority? This is what you do. You open up your checkbook and you look at the checks that you've written. If you don't have a checkbook, go to your credit card statement and look at all the charges on your credit card. That's what your priorities are. Mm-hmm. Right? It's that simple. You can argue it in any way, shape, or form till the cows come home. The organic pasture-raised cows come home. Look at your credit card statements, look at your checkbooks, and see what your priorities truly are. That's the last thing I'll leave you with. If you don't see Cook's Venture on your credit card bill, if you don't have that bag showing up on your doorstep every 2 weeks, then your priority is not organic chicken.
Right.
Or some version of it, right?
Right.
Yep. Good?
Yeah. That was not at all what we had planned to talk about today, but that's where it went. So hope everybody had a great Halloween. Think twice about what you're doing with that candy bag.
Yep. Subscribe to us, like this comment or comment on this podcast. Leave us some reviews. We need to start getting some reviews on this podcast. If you like it, if you hate it, well, don't comment if you hate it. Just email me if you hate it.
Yeah. Email us if you don't like it. Review us if you do like it.
Yeah, 4 or 5 stars minimum. No 3 stars or less. Email me if you got 3 or less. Good?
Cool. Happy Monday. Happy November. Ciao for now.
See ya.
Thank you for subscribing on your social media and podcast platforms to the Berman Method. Dr. Jake Berman with Berman Physical Therapy and Jenni Berman, Physician Assistant with Berman Health and Wellness. You can find more information on our website, www.bermanpt.com for physical therapy, bermanpt.com/wellness for the health and wellness. You can also find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and on your podcast platform. So be sure to follow us, like us, subscribe to us. And if you would like any further information, definitely visit our website and reach out to us. You may also find our free reports on the websites as well, where you can download this free information for yourself. Have a great day.